Hey guys, in this first lesson, we're going to set up our character controller, which is going to require that we import the standard assets that Unity provides for us to use that platform character controller. And we're going to get it set up in our scene with a simple little ground object just so we can get our player up and running so we can get started making our game. We're going to start from a blank project here. I am in Unity Hub 2.0, which looks a little different than 1.9 and back, but overall it's just the same process here. I'm going to create a new project, and I'm going to create it in the latest beta version available to me, which is 2019.2. And I am going to create a project called Industrial Jones. It's going to be a 2D project. Now, this doesn't necessarily matter here, but it's just going to set up our project with some 2D settings that we can change ourselves if we wanted to later on. Then click Create Project. So in our blank project, I'm just going to make sure we're on the same layout by going up to Layout and going to Default. So we have the exact same setup here. And what I want to do is go over to the Asset Store tab, and we're going to find the standard assets that Unity provides by just saying standard asset. And we're going to download and import these into our project. Now, this includes a few different packages that we do not need. We only want the 2D character controller that gets our platformer up and running very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go through, I don't think I need any of these scenes. So I'm just going to turn off sample scenes entirely. And in standard assets, I do not care about, let's just collapse all of this here. I don't want vehicles, utility, prototyping, physics materials, particle systems, fonts, environment, and in the editor, I do not want the water. I do want the cross-platform input, though. We do not need the characters folder, it's just 3D stuff. So we'll import the entire 2D folder, cross-platform input, and the editor for cross-platform input. Now we get an error for that, but that's fine. We can just clear that out and right-click and create a 2D object, sprite. It's just going to be our ground object for now, something for us to walk on. So I'm just going to change the sprite to, let's see, we'll just make it, doesn't really matter, just a platform just like that. And we'll just stretch this out here. Just something to walk around on for now. In the next lesson, we will create an entire level based on tiles. I want to add a component to this that is going to be a box collider 2D. So we can collide with the platform with our player. And speaking of our player, let's go into our 2D standard assets folder here. And I want to go to prefabs, and we have some stuff in here, but all I care about is bringing out my character controller and dropping him right inside my scene. And I want to name this guy player. Just like that. And what I in fact want to do is I want to create a new folder in my assets folder here, and I want to call it prefabs. I want to have my own separate prefabs from the standard assets, and I'm just going to take my player, drag it into prefabs, and I want to create an original prefab. Now we could create a prefab variant, which means the base changes of our original prefab would still affect this guy, but we could add changes on top of that. But I just want to create an entirely new prefab that I have complete control over, just like that. And now what should happen here? If I were to click play, my guy should fall and land on the platform. There we go. And I can just use my WASD or my arrow keys or a controller to move this guy around and space to jump. Now, it's a very floaty jump, and we can get into tweaking all that later on, but for now, our guy is running around in our scene. Pretty cool. So in the next lesson, guys, we're going to start building our first level. It's going to be a very simple level with just some ground tiles and some wall tiles, and then later on, we'll add in hazards, and then we'll add in enemies, and we'll add in keys and doors, and just all kinds of really fun stuff. So my name is Austin, and I will see you in the next lesson.